My name is Ray Shafford. Truth in lending statement. So I do work for Thur LK Water Solutions. They manufacture some of the technologies and some of the solutions to things that I'll talk through today. But this is not a sales presentation at all. A little bit about my background. I have nearly 20 years experience in plumbing and in HVAC systems. So spent several years at a heating manufacturer. So lots of time focused with reps and distributors and contractors and end users and understanding some of the challenges that a lot of you in this room face. My focus is on smart IoT products and solutions for a number of different vertical markets: higher ed, K-12, comm office, hospitality, municipality, what I'm sure a lot of you here are representing today. Worked with a lot of large companies and universities around the country, as well as building owners, property managers, and facilities managers and custodial and the like. So 4 objectives for today. Learn about the fundamentals of common plumbing challenges in a post-COVID world with commercial, institutional, and retail markets in mind. We want to learn how to utilize smart and connected plumbing solutions that allow you to remotely monitor your usage, become a predictive maintenance department, proactively respond to plumbing challenges, and then be more efficient in your cleaning schedules. Also, we're going to learn how facility managers within the hospitality industry can protect from Legionella. There's some new breakthrough technologies out there. I know a lot of facility managers, a lot of you are probably doing that today. There's some new technologies out there that'll make it a bit easier to do and a lot less costly. And then lastly, we'll learn how some of these small plumbing changes within a building can significantly reduce your water usage, help you save energy, and advance the ESG objectives that either you have or the building owners or the tenants have. So this slide here, it shows a lot of the trends and challenges that are going on across multiple vertical markets right now in a post-COVID world. It's also reinforced some long overlooked challenges. On the commercial building side right now, obviously there's the move to hybrid work. Now you could say there's the move to hybrid work. Some places are moving back and making people go back into the office. How does that play into the role of managing a building properly, making sure it's staffed, making sure it's clean, making sure it's running efficiently? Flight to quality. If anyone in here has worked on the commercial office side, vacancy rates for commercial offices have been high. Building owners are now updating their buildings in order to get tenants to sign longer term leases because there is that question mark of not knowing what's really happening there. So in turn, the building owners are spending a lot of money now on upgrading and renovating bathrooms and other parts of the office. So that affects the plumbing side. Sustainability and the growing role of ESG, which that goes across all 5 of these markets here. Again, there's definitely a push now from ESG and sustainability push. End users are expecting it, building owners want to do it, and if you're a publicly traded company, shareholders are looking for it as well. Aging buildings in established markets on the comm office side especially. Some markets, Baltimore, Chicago, New York, especially Chicago, as far as the average age of your commercial office building is 50 to 70 years old. Lots of renovation work and stuff needs to be done there. And then market uncertainty. Again, where's everything going? It seems to be changing with fear of a recession. Are people coming back to the office? Things are starting to not quite balance out to normal. Education side, you have deferred maintenance, ESSER 3 funds, if people here are familiar with that. If you're on the higher ed side, K-12, you don't have to worry about student attraction because wherever students live, that's where they're going to go to school. But from a higher ed standpoint, they are the customer. They are the ones they're choosing to go to a higher education, to a college or a university. So now, because of trends going on, students are now they're being attracted. They're not just going to go to college because everyone says you should go to college. Why should they go someplace? Schools are now having to spend money and make sure they upgrade the facility so that it meets all of their expectations and their needs. Also, looking at hygiene, improving hygiene there on the campuses, both across for K-12 and higher ed. Obviously, maintenance is a big challenge there across the board with staffing. And then community campus and sustainability initiatives. On the healthcare side, we have pods, the move to pods, micro renovations. Mergers and acquisitions seem to be going on all the time. Every month there's a new merger and acquisition from the healthcare side of things. Again, this push in Legionella, which we'll talk about later on, there's definitely the concern there on that side of things, making sure that patients are taken care of. And then also there's been a reduction in revenue due to the elective surgery backlog as a result of the COVID. On the airport side, again, deferred projects. Projects got put off because of the basic 2-year hold on travel. Now some are starting to jump back up. I know Baltimore, I believe, just opened up their new terminal, and there's other new airports that are looking to make startups projects that were put on hold for a couple of years. Then from a funding standpoint, privatized versus public institutions, where's the money going to come from? What's the ROI going to be? What do they want to put in there, both for the owner and for the customers coming through there? And then capacity constraints and the sustainability. And then lastly, on the hospitality side, travel's been recovering, but customers are now aware of hygiene, much more so than before. They're looking for clean rooms, they're looking for places that's not going to be filled with germs. They want to be comfortable, they want to feel safe. And then improved user, this leads into the improved user experience. Again, kind of tied into the higher ed hospitality. The hotels are they're making those upgrades to make sure that things look and appear safe and clean. And then again, that move to sustainability. I know we've seen it for a number of hotel chains. They're wanting their shareholders and they're wanting their customers to know that their facilities are doing what's best for the environment. All of this, though, leads to all these changes and challenges here all affect the facility managers. They all have to deal with the on-site maintenance. And on top of that, they're dealing with an aging workforce and a worker shortage, which seems to be the #1 issue across the board. So learning the fundamentals of common plumbing challenges post-COVID. So there's a couple of different concerns. There's the occupant and then there's the building owner. So where things are at right now from an occupant concern standpoint, what we're seeing on the plumbing side, is the occupants are concerned about the cleanliness of the environment. They want safety, they want health, and they're looking for that efficiency. So clean environment, the performance of the plumbing fixtures, they want fixtures, if they're sensor, they want to make sure that they're working. They don't want people to go into a bathroom and have 2 out of 4 faucets not working. Speed of service, again, that gets into the maintenance standpoint of having things that are down for an extended period of time. Personal space, taking into account how crammed buildings are right now, how close people are to each other, and then minimizing touch points. What are some ways that we can make things more touchless and more sensor, again, for the spread of germs and things. And again, you see here on the right, all of this, the safety, health, and efficiency for the occupancy wants, all of that affects the facility manager. On the owner side of things, the owner's concerned, they want to make sure projects are staying within budget. They need to make sure that it takes care of operations and maintenance, and it also makes that much easier in the future. And then they also have renovations that they need to take care of, especially in those particular verticals that I talked about in the first slide there. Renovation is a key in a lot of these key verticals to make sure that they're attracting tenants, attracting end users, attracting customers. So for owner concerns, their concerns all depend on the type of building and type of market that they're in. Aesthetics. Aesthetics are much more important for a hotel or for a retail establishment than a commercial office. But there are still those concerns on the comm office side that you want to make sure you're attracting and retaining customers that want to stay there and feel comfortable. A restroom is one of the big areas that people have said that they want to make sure fit those needs, especially when you bring in the hygiene concerns. The durability of materials over time, quality execution of production. This also runs into the sustainability. What type of materials are you using? How safe are they for the planet? Are they being reused materials? ADA. I'm sure everyone in here has had to deal with some code and compliance issues. That's always a challenge. Some people overlook that, and then you end up having to pay later on down the road to make fixes, which could have been done the first time around if it was properly planned. Touchless operations. Again, this goes into the hygiene mode. There's a number of these markets still have from a faucet standpoint, from a flushometer standpoint for restrooms. Sensor is most of you have seen, sensor is the way to go in a lot of places. There's still multiple buildings though that have the touch faucets where you do have to use the handles, and people are wanting to go away from that. But there are pros and cons of both that we understand. Ease of maintenance and upkeep. The one thing that the owners want is they don't want to have things that are going to take lots, make life harder on the facility management team and the maintenance team. If they're planning it out right, they're picking solutions that can be used across the building, which makes it easier down the road. And sustainability and ESG, again, common theme. And then energy and resources used, water. So the owners are concerned about that. Again, that does tie into the ESG and sustainability, and I'll talk about that here in a second. So, as it goes from specifically to the plumbing aspect of things here for facility management challenges. So the #1 issue across the board is limited staff. Everyone in here, I'm sure, has had ads or still looking for or has been trying to hire people for a number of months or maybe a year or two. And that seems to be the number one problem that a lot of these other issues trickle down off of. Because of the lack of staff, that's now leading to X, Y, and Z challenges. Other challenge because of the staff, but also just in general, making sure that the facility management knows facility managers are aware of the latest technologies and innovations. This is also tied into training as well. But making sure that the FMs, that all of you in here are aware of what opportunities are out there from a technology standpoint to make your life and hopefully your customers' lives easier. Inconsistent products, brands, and standardization. How many people in here manage buildings with 5 different brands of toilets and flushometers and faucets in there? Do you guys run across that quite often? So, because you have that inconsistent brands, now makes it more difficult to maintain. And then replacement parts. 3 brands means 3 different sets of replacement parts, making sure that they're in stock. If one manufacturer has available parts, the other ones don't, but that other product is the one that you have challenges on, it's going to be a bad user experience for everybody. Lack of time to manage multiple buildings. Again, this plays into the role of the lack of staffing, but also there's only so much time in the day, so if FMs have to do more with less, and which tie into your day-to-day demands. On top of the fixing things, there's the things that have to be done anyway, just from an upkeep standpoint for the buildings. Aging buildings and maintenance inefficiencies. Again, if you manage an old commercial office building or an old school, you have much bigger needs there than necessarily than a place that's only 3 to 5 year old constructed building. And then lastly, here are the hygienic and health demands of the existing future tenants and owners. FMs are now expected to have a greater knowledge of relevant solutions. And a number of the FMs that I talk to, the janitorial and maintenance work, they have to keep up with the hygienic expectations, as well as bring ideas to the tenants and owners for ways to improve ESG and sustainability. So the current state, where things are at right now, and then what are opportunities now from here. So IAQ was the big focus across the board immediately during COVID and immediately post-COVID, especially when in the K-12 market as well. Ensuring proper ventilation, improving the hygiene, improving older, less efficient equipment, especially on the K-12 side with ESSER funds. Those dollars were used immediately to improve ventilation, improve the HVAC systems. Okay, now what else? What are the next big projects that they can take on? Lighting, electrical, security are other areas that have been the big area here post-COVID. So now what's that next step? What funds are available? What are projects that can be taken care of now that the IAQ has been improved in the facility? And that's where plumbing can come in. We think it's the next opportunity for a lot of facilities and a lot of you in here. Restrooms, there's a lot of solutions there and a lot of improvements that can help a building and the owner. You have smart water solutions such as filtered drinking water. Many of you probably see the stories every week. It seems there's another couple of cities, couple schools, colleges, universities, areas where lead has crept back up. People started testing for lead, and lo and behold, there's lead there. That is starting to be an issue. Again, not that it's gone away, but we haven't talked about it. Parents, teachers are concerned for their kids with lead, so having filtered bottle fillers is something that's been gaining importance again. And then from sensor technology standpoint, again, it's touchless, it promotes the health and hygiene, helps limit the waste in some cases, and then there's also a connectivity element to it as well. So talking about connectivity, so objective 2 here, utilizing smart connected plumbing solutions. So you can remotely monitor usage, you can have predictive maintenance, you can proactively respond to the plumbing abnormalities, and then efficiently manage your cleaning schedules. So there's a lot of advantages that can come off of this. So has anybody in here had this happen where you come back in over a weekend and you have water coming out of a urinal or a toilet, or you have a flooded bathroom, and as we say, there's nothing like that fear of a catastrophic flood to keep a facility manager up at night, especially when they come into work on a Monday after the office or the facility's been empty for the last couple days. Or if there was a big football game on Saturday, but nobody's been there until Monday morning. Did anything happen in the restroom after hours? And you come back to a huge mess. What if there was a way that you could have had an alarm or some type of an alert to let you know? So quick situation analysis, you have a problem. A leak's been reported in one of your restrooms. So how can this be solved today? So today's option would be send someone or go yourself to go to the restroom, manually examine the faucet and flushometer in the restroom in question. So that's great. So now you've spent the time and gone there, but what if the leak is stopped? So you don't see anything, so you decide to leave. What if the person reporting the problem identified the wrong restroom, identified the wrong fixture? So again, you still have a problem that's going on, you haven't found it. How many more visits does it take to go back and forth to that restroom or to find the one where there actually is a problem? So that's what goes on today. Future state or current state, if you all have, if you guys make the opportunity to go here, is you can look at your phone, look at your desktop PC or your BMS, locate the problem and the parts that are needed to fix it, immediately get out there and fix it. And that's the world of connected plumbing solutions. So the image here, what if your team and your system could talk to your backflow sensor, your grease interceptor, occupancy lights, your faucets, and your flushometers in your building? How could this make your life a little bit easier? So one of the ways that these connected products, what they do is they will allow you to monitor water usage. You can identify historic data trends. Again, predictive maintenance. Reduce your downtime. Because you now become a proactive, because you can predict the maintenance, now you know that you can plan out some of your maintenance versus everything always being reactive and going across your building, traveling to another building, traveling across campus, going to a different classroom. Now you can play out your weeks and your days much easier. Safety and compliance issues. You're going to lower the risks and the costs, and a best-in-class user experience. And that goes across the board for the building owner, the facility manager, the tenant, the end user. It's cleaner, it's more updated products, it looks more up to date, and the users have a better experience. And then also you can track user behavior to benefit both yourself and for the company that you're serving. So how this all works is you have sensors that capture and send the data. Data gets analyzed and information is delivered via cloud. A secure cloud, so from a security standpoint, there's nothing to worry about there. No one can tap into the building, tap into any other systems. And then that gets fed into an app or into a program, and then you can look at that data 24/7. And then the cool thing about it is you can set up alerts. You set up the parameters for when you want to be alerted for any anomalies, and then you can react off of that. So products can be organized however you see fit. You want to organize by the building, by the floor, by the campus. There's ways that you can go about setting all this up that makes your life easier, and you can use it for your particular staff. One of the other things it offers is the visibility and control. Now you know exactly how things are working. It takes the guesswork out of all of it. And then again, from a control standpoint, now you know where the challenges are, you know when things are operable. Again, it goes into that planning. The alert standpoint, you can opt in, you can set up the people on your particular staff. They can opt in and out of emails. You can add users. So if you have a facility manager that has a particular part of a campus or one that manages one building and you have another team that manages another, you can set up those profiles so Steve only gets the alerts for the Dyson building over on the east side of campus, and Frank gets the alerts over for the Olin Engineering building on the west side of campus. So you have the ability to set all those things up. And again, it's a full enterprise portfolio, so you can set it up with multiple locations. The popular products, solutions I'm going to show today here is a lot of them are in the bathroom, in the restroom. So flushometers, faucets, and occupancy sensors. But then there's also smart products that are available for backflow prevention, flood control. So it can set off alerts and let you know if a backflow's gone off and you might have a possible flood situation on your hands because it's releasing water. And then also for grease interceptors. So again, all of this ties into multiple markets. So I'm sure all of you in here fit one of these areas from an end user standpoint. Commercial office, they're looking for improvements. Again, that flight to quality. There's renovations that are going on right now, trying to upgrade the facilities to make sure tenants are signing longer leases. One of the ways to do that is having these connected products so it looks better for the user, makes your life easier. K-12 through college. K-12 especially, from the water bottle sensors right now for filters for taking out lead, but then also managing those facilities better, especially with the reduction in staff. It's so hard to fill the maintenance jobs there. Airports and stadiums, those places, the restrooms that are going to get hit heavy with large crowds, large surges of crowds. Healthcare, obviously one of the main places that's concerned about clean and touchless. And then in the restaurant industry as well, restaurant and hospitality. So the connected restroom. So some of the benefits here that we talked about. So improving operational efficiency. So with connected bathrooms, you can go into an app or a program and you can look at the status of a room, of a stall, of a specific fixture. And it can tell you all the way down to that specific fixture what the status is. You can get what's the solenoid life, what's the battery life, where are things at with that. You can go track that 24/7, so you can proactively, when you're making a trip to a building across campus, you can look at all the fixtures within that particular restroom and say, okay, while I'm there to fix a piece of, a tile that's cracked on the floor, what are some other things I can take care of while I'm there? You can go into a program and see how everything's operating in that bathroom. Oh, I need to change batteries while I'm there. Now you've knocked off a potential trip in the future, and you've also made life better for the customers down the road who aren't sitting there trying to wash their hands with a sensor faucet that's not working because the batteries are out. Preventive maintenance alerts. Again, you can set up the parameters for this as well. So how can I get alerted on replacing parts and become proactive? So you can get, the alerts can go from, you'll get your status, you get a warning, flush valve here, solenoid upcoming maintenance, and then this turns into severe. Actuations are exceeding the warning limit that I've set up. So, things such as low battery alerts, the solenoid replacements, diaphragms on flushometers, voltage monitoring, and then also remote purge. But a number of those things, the low battery alerts, the solenoid replacements, the diaphragms, those are things that today don't get repaired until after they've broken and after they've sat there, and hopefully an end user or somebody has contacted the maintenance department or contacted you to say, hey, this isn't working, and then you got to find the time to get out there and fix it. Maybe you take the time to drive out there or walk over to that building and fix it. Now maybe it's not the diaphragm, it's something else. Now you have to drive back, get the parts. So now it's a repeated trip. It takes more time in the day. So again, this helps you become more preventive, and especially with the alerts. From a trackability standpoint, you can understand consumer behavior. Know when and how often the restrooms are being used by the hour of each day. You can determine peak traffic times. This can help you or the end users from a JanSan standpoint know, okay, in the afternoons on Tuesdays, it seems like why are we having this peak of traffic? Oh, it's because we have Tuesdays between noon and 3, there's a sale or there's a special going on for seniors, or there's something for students. You can track usage and you can help plan your schedule around that. You can plan for the peak times and then how all of the work that goes into that, making sure that the facility is staying clean and updated there during those peak hours. You can resolve, you have high and low usage alerts. So you can have alerts set up for when things are working well below what they should, or also when it goes really high. All of a sudden, you get an actuator alert that a flushometer is tripping a lot. Okay, there's probably something going on there. I should probably go take a look at what the situation in that restroom is. So those are some things that you can have there. So again, monitoring programs with alerts. So this is a screen grab of one of the what's going on at a particular facility or an enterprise, if you will. So there's 4 active alerts that you can see. Diaphragms at the end of life on the 2nd floor here. It's flushometer. It's number 26. Sorry. Actuators have exceeded the warning. Actuations exceed warning. Diaphragms at the end of life. You can set up your enterprise, again, like I mentioned. You can go from room by faucet, however you want. So here's all the rooms that we have set up in this particular enterprise. I can click on ladies' bathroom, and it'll show me everything that's going on in that particular bathroom. So you can get down to that level of management. From a maintenance standpoint, because of this, you can also go in and now you can set up your schedule. You can see when the batteries are projected to run out. You can see when the solenoids are going to need replacement. You can build a proactive maintenance schedule well in advance. And again, now you have a maintenance department that is much more proactive versus reactive. And again, by being proactive, it's an opportunity cost from the fact that you're saving time down the road, and probably saving money too, because you're taking care of something such as changing out batteries, doing that well in advance of when people are having bad experiences. People are stopping to use the sensor faucets because they know, I'm not going to go to that bathroom, those things don't work in there. You can get well ahead of these issues by being able to plan it all out. And then from a water usage standpoint, again, back into that whole sustainability of things. People want to know how the water's being used. That's just where things are going. And in order to determine what type of changes need to be made, or if things are having a positive effect, you have to monitor them. So that's one of the things that these connected products will do. You can get alerts by building for how much water is being used. It can track top 5 water usage by building, by product, so flush valve or faucet, how much water is being used. So these are all valuable things for the end users and for yourselves, that you can see what's having an effect on water use. And then you can report that back to the building owner or the manager. So objective 3 here, learning how facility managers can protect occupants from Legionella through purge improvements while reducing labor at the same time. So why do we need to purge the systems? So ensure the safety of the occupants in the building. Legionella is the primary reason for everyone I talk to of why they're doing this. And quite honestly, from a safety and security and a legal reason. They want to make sure there's no Legionella in the building. The best way to do that is flushing and purging the systems. 2 weeks ago, a professor at San Diego State University who was there for 40 years, he got sick, caught Legionella. Actually, I think a month ago he caught it, and then then it got severe, and 2 weeks later he died. And that was just a couple of weeks ago. So these are the things that are continually crop up. They're still cropping up. I've been to a couple of presentations here this week. Legionella and purging has come up both of the occasions. Other reasons from mold, lead, copper, the smell, taste, and just maintaining optimal performance are why people want to purge. So again, the fears of the Legionella, on the higher ed side, how can you get Legionella in multiple vertical markets? It happens over the prolonged shutdown, reduced operation, and stagnant water. So higher ed and K-12, you got a prolonged shutdowns every summer. Campuses are shut down for 12 weeks, and then another 4 weeks over Christmas and spring break usually. Healthcare, you got hundreds of fixtures in each building. They're not all being used all the time. Same thing on hospitality. Hundreds of rooms. You go to Las Vegas, look at some of the hotels there, how many 1,000 rooms in there. They're not being used consistently. Legionella, depending on the environment, can form in weeks or months. All depends on the disinfectant residuals, water heater set points, water usage patterns, and then the pre-existing colonization. And the states are now they're going to start requiring purging, and as has been talked about in a number of presentations here this week, once the regulation starts happening, the private industry is going to start following. So question here, does anyone in here experience, do you manually purge or purge the systems right now? Yep. What's the process like that you have?
I'm with GSA out of St. Louis. We started for July, where all of our buildings had to purge 20% of the little fixtures in the facility.
Okay.
Through each riser, and then further points on that.
Okay.
And we're actually doing just a basic chlorine test manually.
Okay. And manual, there's the key word there. So, the current state for Legionella purging it's a manual process. Someone must physically turn on and turn off the fixture each time. It requires manpower, requires time, requires money. It's inefficient, it's inconsistent, and it's not guaranteed the work is being done properly. If it's a manual process, say if you're purging faucets at a college in dorms, you have 3 floors of dorms. Well, What if Steve didn't feel like going to the third floor that day, but he's going to write down and say that he purged the system? What if every room wasn't visited in a hospital or a hotel? What are the safeguards to provide that safety and security that it's being done where it should be done and as long as it should be done for? So, and that's where remote purging is now a technology that's available to help fight Legionella and all those other challenges. You can remotely schedule faucets to purge and run water now. It reduces the labor costs, custom durations and frequencies to meet the needs of that particular building. You can schedule the purges down to the building level, down to the single room, down to the faucet level, wherever you know things are being used. You can then download these reports too. So what you're looking at here is a sample of a screenshot of a report where automatic purging occurred. So you don't have to worry about somebody writing it down by hand, that I went and, faucet number 1, bathroom 201, it's not done by hand anymore. You can set it up to do at the particular time when it's not going to be used. So 7 a.m., it ran for 60 seconds. I used 0.5 gallons of water. It's verified it worked. Plus, and then if there's an X here, you know that there's an issue. You can have an alarm set up to let the facility management manager know that, hey, this didn't purge right. Again, now you can get out there and go check that and work on it right away, versus in the past or currently, maybe you don't know there's an issue there. So health and risk management, it improves that as well. And then again, the automation, by making this automated, it's the only guaranteed way the facility manager can purge for Legionella and bacteria risk mitigation. You know that it's being done. So here's a sample of a system with the remote purge, and we ran it earlier, but you'll be able to hopefully see the So you can see the water turning on for all 4 faucets there, and they'd run for another 30 seconds, but that's boring TV, so we don't need to watch that long. But again, it's automated, saves time, promotes a healthier environment, and again, it provides that documented proof of purge. Objective 4, learning how plumbing changes within a building can reduce water usage, save your energy, advance the ESG objectives of the building owner and the tenant. So the triumvirate here on the right side, the facility manager, the building owner, and the tenant or occupant, all coming together here. A lot of these changes will help all 3. There's that heightened awareness of ESG across all markets, public, private, investors, consumers. There's a need there. People are expecting that. Take advantage of modern technology and utilize the smart plumbing changes here within a building. It shows a number of benefits to the shareholders, to the users, especially if you manage multiple locations. You can reduce water usage and you can measure this. There's energy savings. There's a hygiene improvement. Connected products promotes that touchless environment, that safe environment that a lot of people are looking for. And it improves the overall occupant experience. So reducing operating costs and energy is critical. Especially for facility managers, you're asked to provide continuous improvement ideas to property owners on a monthly or yearly basis. A lot of FMs right now, one of their measurable goals is, every 6 months you have to take to the building owner, especially on commercial real estate, you have to take to a Collier's, give me 2 ideas on ways of continuous improvement here for this particular facility. If they're not doing connected solutions right now, this is an idea that you can bring to them, get credit for giving them that idea, and then implement it across the board for their facilities, and you get all of these savings. And then again, there's that additional benefit of appearance. Visually, these changes do update the appearance and improve the overall experience of the building occupants. Students, hotel guests, employees within an office, the shoppers, it gives it that new technology. It's a sense that the owner here is trying to take care of us, make sure it's a sensor product so it's touchless, but then you're also doing well by the environment, meeting those sustainability goals. So investors, regulators, consumers, tenants, and municipal leaders, they're demanding these changes. You see the logos here for Well and Fitwell. These are 2 organizations now that are growing like gangbusters now over the last 3 years because of coming out of COVID, trying to make sure that buildings and building owners are taking care of the users within those buildings. LEED is concerned about the materials that are being used on the sustainability of the materials on the building. Well and Fit Well is all about the wellness and well-being of the occupants inside. So on higher education, leaders are recognizing key constituents and students want to be a part of a purpose-led organization. So this is something that colleges and universities are using to their benefit to try to attract students. Commercial office, CRE building owners and tenants, they're establishing those goals. And again, you're seeing flight to quality right now as a big challenge amongst commercial real estate. Airports, traffic's rising above pre-pandemic levels. Airport planners, they got to ensure that the building that the new terminals are designed in the future to operate in ways that are going to be sustainable, that are going to save water, that are going to make people happy. And then the fixtures fixtures are a way to affect your score. The connected sensor-driven solutions here, it'll help the organization, the customer, earn their well points, earn Fit Well. So you can bring it into that initiative as well if it's something that you're looking to do or the building owner is looking to do. So what are some of the changes that can help everyone in this room here move the needle? What are the measurable effects that they have? So again, data-driven smart solutions include some or all of the following features. Connected, which we talked about, critical for measurability and for quantifying the savings. It allows you to measure things and then act on it as well as report the savings. If you don't go the connected route, there are sensor products out there. You get the added benefit of sensor with the touchless environment. It improves the hygiene. You can get battery or hardwired. There's some places that want nothing to do with battery. There are connected, there are sensor products that can be done with hardwired. Airports, schools. Some schools don't want to touch the batteries because, again, it goes back to the staffing. They don't want to spend all this time changing out batteries. Faucets, flushometers, bottle fillers, hand dryers here from a sensor standpoint are examples. And then there's also hydropower that's now a technology that's available on the faucets and flushometer side of things. Eliminates the battery use instead of changing a battery once every year. Because of hydropower in a faucet, you can do a sensor faucet, you only have to change the batteries once every 10 years. So you're eliminating tens of thousands of batteries going to a landfill, depending on how many facilities, how many restrooms, how many buildings that you manage. So connected in action. For K-12, here's an example of a K-12 school. So restroom renovation at a school. So particular school, faucets, flushometers, and hand dryers were added to the restroom there for renovation. So 45% of the total school water usage came from the restrooms. 17 restrooms, 153 toilets, 40 urinals, 85 faucets. The results here by changing it over. So they had a 71% reduction in water due to the high efficiency, low rate fixtures. Saves $15,000 annually, and then also 2 million gallons of water are saved. Pretty positive outcome for everybody involved, both the school leader, the municipality, and the students. Changing over from just adding in the hand dryers, 99% cost savings versus paper, $28,000 a year, 100 trees saved a year. And then on the maintenance side of things, with the hydropower and the hydro gear, $5,000 in savings thanks to the batteries, and no solenoids and less batteries here over a 10-year period. Again, things that the school district, the students, parents, people are all proud of and can start adding to multiple schools too. An example on a higher ed side, place with multiple buildings. So this is just strictly from a faucets and flushometer standpoint. So there's 4 categories here: extra large, large, medium, and small, college or university. 50 buildings, we're saying 50 buildings here on the small college campus, all the way up to 150 buildings or more for an extra large campus. 85% decrease in the labor hours thanks to the preventative maintenance. And that comes from the fact that you can now look and see, okay, do I need new batteries? Is the diaphragm out? Because you can now plan for this, you now eliminate hours, thousands of hours every year in making multiple trips across campus, to and from campus. Hydropower, you're saving 5 to 15,000 batteries a year because you don't have to change batteries every year now, it's every 10. From a water savings, again, you can now measure the water. If you just were to take 25% of the faucets on each of these campuses and transition over to the 0.35 gallon per minute flow, You'll save 100 to 300,000 gallons of water a year, plus the cost of that water. And then the remote purge savings, as people start moving into that, and college campuses are doing it today from the time and labor that it takes. 3,000 labor hours at $25 an hour for labor to hire somebody to walk around the campus and purge. This is based on purging all the faucets for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, one time each week for the 12 weeks of the summer, and then also 4 weeks of summer and winter break. So the savings here, these are annual savings. So when you add all these savings up annually and then multiply it over 5 years, some of this stuff can almost pay for itself. So from a water use standpoint, in my application, again, specifically for water, you can understand the spikes and the trends and link these to costs. You can also use this to force shifts in use for a particular campus or for a particular building. And then depending on the type of business, you could use this data now because you're measuring it. You can convert this into a revenue stream. If you measure a space for an event space, or if you're a stadium and things, you now can see what the surge of water use is when people are there occupying your building. You could wrap that into the cost of what you're charging for chargeback fees, for facility use, for rentals. You now have something to go back with, and you can document how much water is being used, and you can choose to, if you want to put that into your payments, or use that to again, to gain revenue. And FMs report back to the property owner and the tenant. This is something all of you now, you can take this data and take it back to the building owner, to the property owner, and say, look, here's where things are at from a sustainability standpoint on our particular campus. So some other options, some of the other things that these sensor faucets connected products can do for you is identify specific water and savings opportunities. So you have fixture use by data, by bathroom, by floor. You can predict a hand washing score. This is software that's built into the tracking mechanism. It measures the rate of use between the flushometers and the sinks, so you can get an idea on who's doing a better job of keeping things clean. And then one really important product that's jumping out in the forefront lately that we've seen a lot of talk about is occupancy sensors in the restrooms. What these do, it's definitely something that people are using from a convenience standpoint and end user experience. When you walk in, you have green light, red light, so you know when stalls are in use. So it eliminates the embarrassing people having, knocking on doors and pushing on them. But there's an added safety and security nowadays that's going into buildings, into schools, colleges especially. Anyone that has a bathroom in a public facility where anyone can go in. The occupancy sensors can go into your system that you can monitor now on your smartphone or on that app, and you can have it set up alerts for, okay, send me an alert if a stall has been occupied for more than 20 minutes. Send me alert if, you can send those times there. Send me alert if actuators for the toilet have been going off like crazy. But from a security standpoint here for occupancy sensors, you can set up that timing, so 20 minutes, let me know. You can now get a phone call and call security to go check and see, has there been a medical emergency in that particular restroom? Is there a homeless person in there? Is there any, what else might be going on in there that would cause that stall to be occupied for such a long amount of time? So from a safety and security standpoint, we're getting lots of questions now and interest just for occupancy sensors to make sure that the buildings are safe and secure. Oh, another thing too, the in and out alerts. Again, this kind of goes into the tracking, you can track usage. Which particular stalls are being used, which ones aren't. You can also set up alerts for, for if there's an anomaly where a stall is suddenly not being used that much in a day. Okay, set an alert up for that. There must be a reason why this is suddenly not being used. Send the JanSan team out to take a look at it and see what might be going on there. So some other options too, bottle fillers. The sensor bottle fillers promote sustainability. You can track the single-use bottles saved, and there is a movement we know of for moving these over to connected products as well, so that this could tie in to the BMS or to the particular app for the connected faucets and things. So, future state will be to have the bottle fillers as well from Legionella, so they could purge on a daily basis or weekly basis, however, to make sure that water is being run out, and that way it stays safe and secure for the owner. And then grease interceptor monitors and alarm systems. So today, you spend buildings with restaurants, cooking, are spending thousands of dollars a year. to pump the tanks out, but the tank isn't necessarily full. There's instrumentation is now available, can be retrofitted to existing tanks, and you can manage the liquid levels. So now instead of having somebody come out and pump out the tanks, 3 times a year, there's a monitor system where you can now look and see, you know what, I don't need the tank to be pumped out just yet, so let's push this off for another few months. So there's a big savings there, as well as an environmental benefit as well. So some key takeaways here, hopefully everyone walks away with is out of this today is that, smart connected plumbing solutions, they're going to save time, they're going to decrease costs, they'll help you have more predictive maintenance and become a more proactive maintenance department versus reactive. Benefits of sensor are also realized when you combine it with many other finished plumbing products. Regardless of the size of your facilities, I showed an example here of one K-12 school, and I also showed an example of higher ed with 50 to 150 buildings. It doesn't matter the size of your campus, how many buildings you have, if it's just a couple of bathrooms, if it's 3 bathrooms in 5 different commercial office buildings. There's some benefits there, and the ROI is there. More fixtures, more dollars, more gallons of water saved, though, for sure. But these products, at the end of the day, they're going to help the property owners, they're going to help the tenants, the occupants, and hopefully help all of you as well. But savings, you have the savings, hygienic savings, and sustainability savings. So a lot of benefits, a lot of technology that's out there for the taking on the plumbing side of things. And with that, I'm done with my presentation, and if anyone has any questions. Yes?
I have lots on the purging side.
Yes.
I'm not dominant on that, but can you set up the frequency based on the last time it ran so many GPMs versus doing it on a time basis? Saying, it's run this much water, but it hasn't run in 2 weeks, then it will purge. So I don't have to have all my faucets purging if one's getting used daily because that's the favorite sink people are going to.
Yeah. Yes, you can set it up by faucet.
Okay.
You can.
If it's run in the past, it won't purge. If it hasn't run for like 2 weeks, then you can decide to purge.
I believe so. Let me talk to you afterwards because I can confirm with one person.
That though is purging. If you set up on a time schedule, is more just regular maintenance. It's not predictive. On the predictive side, it would be what's the indicator of potential for Legionella? Could I just do a water sampling test somehow, or does it only exist in the hot water side? It could be both cold and hot.
For the remote purging?
No, I understand if it's for purging, it's doing both, but the potential for Legionella, is it really just on the stagnant hot water side, or is it on both hot and cold?
Well, for sensor faucets, because you don't have a hot or a cold, it's combined. It's on that one. That's why we have it set up for these. Yes. If I'm misunderstanding your question, I'll
Well,
talk.
I guess the thing is, if you're always purging just because you want to purge, the question would be whether or not Legionella has the potential to actually form. Does it actually have the potential to form in both the hot and the cold, or just the hot?
That I don't know, because I just know for the water coming out, when it comes out combined, that's what you're purging, and that's what you're getting rid of on the daily basis. Sorry.
Are there sensors made for tank-type toilets?
For what type of for on the toilet, you mean? Or for?
To know that a tank-type toilet has been flushed.
Not that I know of, but I know that we don't have the sensors for that, but we have this, for the flushometers, we know based on, on that sensor flushometer, we know, but yeah, for a tank, no. There might be, I'm not aware of it. But I know in the markets and things we work on, more on the commercial side, yeah, everything's going tankless, so that's what I know on. Yes?
I work in healthcare. Have you used this application or has anyone used it in healthcare?
The purging?
No, just yes.
The which?
Oh, okay, I got my answer.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have one campus, a smaller campus with older plumbing. It's a campus with 13 buildings. I'm currently looking at some Zern sensing equipment for our main water lines, for water bursts or damaged water lines and floods and such. Problem is that I only have one source of water, which
not think that we have that. Let me talk to you right afterwards because I know a person to double check with on that for you. Anything else? Yes.
So your company has the hardware as in the valves and the flushometers, as well as the dashboard tool to track all of that.
Yes.
That smart data.
Yes.
So the tools that are used have to be within that ecosystem. Is there like other products that can slot in, or it really?
No, it's within our particular system, when specifically for Thur and LK. I'll talk to you afterwards, just because I know I don't want to talk too specific on or come across salesy here, but
Okay.
but we are in booth 618 for the expo. If anyone wants to talk to myself or some other people here today, for sure, to get into some of those specifics. But I can definitely show you at least how the system and how it works and what we have and how all this stuff operates together.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
With your wireless communication, you're running off of just standard batteries. What's the battery longevity for one, and what kind of communication are you looking at?
It can be hardwired or battery.
Okay.
Either way, but it's I forgot the technical name from a security standpoint. But as far as you mean how it's communicated out, yeah, it's like a modem router for you basically need one for each building, depending on how many floors there are. But we have a system in university at a dorm with multiple floors, and we have one system there, and it captures all the data and then sends it out over into our program. But it can be hardwired in. Again, some people want it hardwired, some want batteries. But when it comes to the actual, the mechanical equipment side of things, yeah, you can hardwire or do batteries there. But the battery standpoint with the hydro stuff that I know that's out there, yeah, you don't have to change them that often. So, all right, awesome. Thank you, everybody.